go. That was alright. Messed up a little bit on the D. I don't know if that sounds the best. Anyway, yo, what's up? I am BirdBob/Aiden, whatever you want to call me. And I want to talk to you guys today about trombone empathy. So let's think about this term for a second. Empathy, I can talk, is kind of like putting yourself in someone else's head, right? And a trombone, obviously, is trombone. So trombone empathy is kind of the sense that you can feel what another player is doing when they play. I got this term from my teacher, Jim Miller, my former teacher at UCLA, who just kind of brought it up in passing once. Somebody was playing something in studio, and they were trying a little too hard in the high range, and you could just see it in their face, and you could feel it in the sound. And he was like, whoa, okay, hold up. Everyone here can feel it in their trombone empathy hearts that you're not approaching this in the right way. And we are all tensing up because of it. And we were all kind of like, oh, we are. And I've had this sense for a long time, I feel like. Not exactly just trombone, obviously, just like seeing somebody play and just kind of intrinsically going, oh, okay, they're really relaxed, they know what they're doing, or, oh man, they don't know how to relax, they don't know how to just like flow to the instrument. But I've never really put it into words like that, and that really kind of opened up a whole realm of possibilities for me. So let's talk about trombone empathy. You know what it feels like to play your instrument on some level, some intrinsic level. There we go, I've used intrinsic twice. A little counter, 1, 2 for intrinsic. And of course that's to a degree. If you just started and you're in middle school, you probably have, like a 3% idea of what it's like to play your instrument. Like, you know what happens when you do, but you're not really sure how it happens, and it's not very consistent. And then there's people at the very top of the professional game that have like a 93% idea of what they're doing when they play. And they've got a pretty good grasp of the instrument. They miss one note every 1 trillion or something. They know what they're doing. They're really relaxed. It's not a big deal for them. I'm somewhere in like the bottom third of that probably. I've spent time on the instrument, but not nearly enough to just like have that, boom, I know exactly what I'm doing. But we all have that, like the kind of, that idea of what it takes to play an instrument. Therefore, you can, when you see somebody play, or hear them play, or whatever, you can kind of apply that to them. And I prefer for my viewers right now, you guys are watching me on YouTube, I know, but I prefer you guys to do that live first. Do that live a lot. Go to concerts, go to recitals, go to studios, go to master classes, get lessons to really feel what it's like to for other people to play. You can get this in videos and stuff, but I think this is a later skill. I'll talk about that in a second. First, you need to do it live. You need to go hear somebody play close up, like 5 feet away, to really understand what they're doing. I can give you an example. I feel like I now play in the high register more like my teacher than I used to. Just because I've been next to him in lessons when he's played high, and I'm like, oh, I hear it, I can see it, and I can feel kind of how he's approaching the high register, and I kind of try to do that myself. Maybe not even on purpose, maybe I'm doing it completely unconsciously, but I've kind of started to approach the horn in that way. Not exactly the same way, I can't make my chops like his, but just that, the way he approaches that register, I've kind of adopted as my own. And this is something you can really only do live, especially to begin with. You kind of have to have that idea before you can apply it to videos and audio recordings. Now, I think I can apply it to videos more. For instance, I use Brian Hecht, the bass trombonist of the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra. It's one of my sound models, and I'll watch him play in his just little short videos and stuff, and I go, I think I know how he's doing that. And I can just kind of start to approach the instrument the same way he does. And sometimes I get the same, what I feel like is the same sound as him-ish in the lower register. And I go, oh, yes, I'm finally doing it, I'm getting close. I don't do it consistently at all. And I, of course, lose that since I don't hear him all the time. I've never heard him live, so I can't exactly do it. But I just have this intrinsic sense of, oh, am I getting close? Am I getting there? Of course, I play an instrument similar to him, and I play the same mouthpiece he does, so that definitely helps. And of course, this doesn't always work if they play it really, really differently than you. So, just be aware. Like if I watch Trombone Shorty play trombone, for instance, he plays upstream with really puffed cheeks, and of course he plays a pretty different style than I do. So when I watch him play, I get really tense, and I'm like, oh man, if I play that way, I would sound horrible, and I would have no endurance, and he could just play all day, every day. So it's not always going to work. I would really kind of try and apply it to people in your field and people you want to sound like. I would love to sound like Trombone Shorty, but there's no way I could play like that. And then, of course, apply this to your own playing. Like I just said, I've talked about 2 examples of my own. And the metaphor I want to use is Heroes, the 2006 TV show that starred a whole bunch of famous people now. I can't remember any of their names. But the bad guy in Heroes, there's only 1 season, the later seasons are garbage. The first season is great. The bad guy's name is Silar, and his power that he picks up, I'm not sure if he started with this, his power is that, it is really horrible, he cuts people's heads open and then eats their brains, people who have powers, and then he gains those powers. So he goes around just like slurping up all these people's brains. And then at the end of the first season, he has like, a dozen heroes' powers. So he's like super powered compared to a lot of the other people. He's almost invisible, but he's not. And of course, he's a bad guy, and I do not want you guys to go around cutting people's brains or heads open and slurping out their brains. You will just get sick and die from that. Don't do it, and probably go to jail also. But I kind of have this idea of that same kind of thing, like I'm taking their powers. They get to keep their power, the trombone players that I listen to and watch, but I also get to steal some of it for myself. And of course, I don't get to steal all of it. I don't get to just instantly be Jim Miller, the Los Angeles Philharmonic, or Brian Heck of the Atlanta Symphony. I don't get to just instantly get 100% of their powers, but you can just steal little bits and parts of how they play. And I would really, really, really try to do this. What's my next point here? Yeah, exactly. Like, never stop using this, because the biggest way that I get in a rut, playing-wise, where I just feel bad about what I'm doing, is that I get stuck in my own head, I get stuck in my own sound, and I don't think of what I want to sound like. I just play something, I'm like, man, that sounds bad. And then I play it again, I'm like, well, it still sounds bad. Instead of going, I'm going to apply these things that I've heard in other players and in recordings and stuff, and I'm just going to sound like that. I'm just going to do that. I'm not going to be me at all, I'm just going to do that. And instantly, things are way better. That little articulation thing I played at the beginning, da-da-da-da-da-ba-ba, I was actually really scared to play that. Because even yesterday, I think I probably couldn't have played that very well. But warming up, 5 minutes ago, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to play this, and I'm going to play it like a really good bass trombonist would. And all of a sudden, it was a lot easier. It's really, really about just not getting stuck in your own head and stuck in your own sound all the time. Using these other people, not as a crutch really, but as kind of like a bridge to move yourself along. And of course, this is a good way to tell if you're teaching, if someone is playing not very well. You can just listen to them and tell if they're using too much tension and stuff like that. Teaching and playing, it's really kind of easy for me to see someone play something, especially younger players, and go, okay, they need to work on this because I can hear it and I can feel it. This is something that I used to do maybe. So it's just a really good skill to have. So trombone players, go around, slurp up some brains, metaphorically, and learn some skills other people do better than you. See you guys next time.